Mwahaha! Right, now I've got that out of the way. Hello everyone, and welcome to the Sao Paulo round of the GPVWC Formula Challenge. So far, we're in qualifying, and it's Roy Schroten at the top of the times. Of course, Schroten having been counted out of mathematical contention of the title last round. But yeah, with the championship out of the way, we can just concentrate on the racing now. See who picks up the lower positions in the championship. I know the battle for second is quite intense, or well, it could be claimed in this next race. So without a championship battle going on, we'll see what happens in the racing here. So this is, of course, the Autodromo Jose Carlos Pace, which is more commonly known as Interlagos or Sao Paulo in Brazil. And it's well known for its title deciders in Formula 1. Many championships have been confirmed here. We've had the 2007 one, which is the earliest one I can remember. 2008, the very famous title decider. 2012 was claimed here. But as I said, today is not a title decider. We're just racing here for the race. So, as I said, it's Roy Schroten at the top of the timesheet so far, with Bastian Paisler in second. Now, Paisler's looking very quick here this weekend. Of course, in the previous weekends of the year, he's had flashes of pace. There have been some rounds where he's been closer to the top than others, but I don't think he's topped a session yet. And indeed, he did top the practice session here today, so keep an eye on Bastian Paisler. He could certainly be one to look out for. Interlagos is definitely one of his favourite tracks. So, or one of his best tracks from what I can see, so keep an eye on him there. Terence Gresh is in third place at the moment, so Gresh going well in that car there. Fourth place is Maciej Młynek, who of course claimed the title last weekend. Fifth place is Rico Lil, which is a name that I didn't recognise before practice. So Lil, I don't know if this is his first round in the championship or not, but it's the first time I've seen him racing, for example. And I've been very impressed by his performance so far. He seems to be definitely one of the quick guys. He's right up the front of the field and has been since the start of the Tuesday. I saw him in practice, and well, it'll be interesting to see what he can do. I'll just search up whether he's raced yet this year or not. Good morning to the people. Good morning. What am I saying? Good evening. I suppose it's morning somewhere in the world, but good evening to the people joining us on the YouTube chat. I see Gadona's in here, as well as Tobias Olsen and Chris Shepherd. I must say, well done to Tobias Olsen as well for the ITC victory at Adelaide. That was very entertaining to watch. Absolutely dominant there. And it is indeed Rico Lil's first race in the GPVWC. Driving the GPVWC Academy car, informs Godona in the YouTube chat. So thanks for clearing that up. So indeed, it is Rico Lil's first race, and he is currently in 6th position. Now, to the top of the timesheet has gone Chris Butcher, but really not by much. Look at that time. There is 1,000th of a second separating Chris Butcher and Roy Schroten at the top of the field here, with a 119.440 to a 119.441. It doesn't get any closer than that. Any closer than that, and they would be absolutely tied on time. It goes without saying. But Roy Schroten is about to complete another lap here. Let's see what this lap will be like as he's going to cross the line now. It's going to not improve. So, in fact, it doesn't appear to have been classified for some reason. I didn't see him pop into the pits, but whatever the case, as into the pits returns Terence Gresh. Roy Vazil is in 6th place so far, ahead of, now Rico Lil, so there's been a change there. Pedro Gomez is in 9th, followed by Johan Lindberg and David Junt, who is 3rd in the championship at the moment. So Schroten, of course, who is currently running second, will be trying to claim the second place spot in the championship this weekend. This weekend from David Junt. There is a 56-point margin, I believe, with 75 points up for grabs after this next race. So that would mean that Schroten would have to outscore Junt by 19 points to claim the second place in the championship this round. Rico Lill to the top of the timesheet. My goodness. So in his first race with the GPVWC, Rico Lill has just topped the timesheet. I didn't actually see that lap coming. I wasn't expecting that, but that was by 0.0. Oh, it's changed again. It was by about 500ths of a second, as now, also by about 500ths of a second, Roy Schroten goes to the top. Bastian Peisler goes to third as well, locking Chris Butcher out of fourth. It's all changed at the top of the timesheets. I wonder if the temperatures just turned up a notch in terms of literally and also in terms of the competition. As Roy Schroten goes to the top, Rico Lill was briefly at the top and is now in second. Then it's Peisler, Butcher and Gresh. Whew, it all happened there. It all happened all of a sudden. As Schroten has a bit of an off at the top of the hill, so it doesn't look like this lap is going to be his fastest. We have less than a lap time left in the session time now, which means that the drivers are only realistically going to get one more chance in now. So it's going to be now or never, as Matthew Marquard moves up to fourth place. So the YTF1 car looking quick so far, but of course it can all change. Rico Lill is now in the pit lane, so that's his work done for today. He's currently in second place. We'll see if he can hold that. Obviously, he didn't think that he was going to get pole position, so he's not going to be going any quicker. Roy Schroten's about to complete a lap. Let's see what this one is as he crosses the line. It's not quicker. As Bastian Peisler goes to the top. Bastian Peisler possibly using the toe of Roy Schroten towards the end of that lap there, as Roy Schroten gets possibly, as I said, possibly gave him a bit of slipstream heading down the pit straight. I saw they were very close on track. And Peisler's time is a 1:19.253, which is about 900ths of a second faster than Roy Schroten's lap. Was. And I'm informed. Yeah, so in the YouTube chat, Holland Racing Team types Baz getting P1 if Sector 3 turns out right, and obviously it did. But I tell you what, it hasn't lasted long. Matthew Marquard to the top, right at the dead of time. The time has ticked down and into minus numbers, and right at the end of the session, and it's changed again. My goodness, I can't keep up with this. Maciej Młynek, who claimed the title last round, has taken the lead of the qualifying session. Is anyone else on a lap? Chris Butcher might be on a lap. I haven't got the right pages open. I can't find. There was a really useful page that I used before to track the drivers as they were going through each sector, but I can't find where that is. Never mind, too late now. As Chris Butcher, who of course was at the top earlier on in the session, is pitting. Never mind. So I believe that the session is over as Matt Klipp goes to 13th, displaces David Junt. So the order now is Maciej Młynek, Matthew Marquard. So two variants of the Matthew/Maciej name up the top there. Bastian Peisler third for the Holland Racing Team. And talking of Holland Racing Team, they have very helpfully directed me to the or at least I think that's the helpful page I used before. I'll have to check that later. Thanks, Holland Racing Team. Roy Schroten fourth, Rico Lill fifth. So Lill, who of course was looking like he might get pole on his first race, has been demoted to fifth. Chris Butcher sixth. Then it's Terence Gresh, Matthias Dabrowski, Johan Lindberg, Roy Vazil, Bruno Souza Ferreira, Pedro Gomez, Matt Klipp, David Junt, Christoph Lichtenstein, Philip Koenig, Menno Klont, Ben Willis, Matthias Ziebinski, Brett Metcalf, Mark Breslin, Lucas Zimmerman, Eric Stanford, Thomas Andrea Maharasoa, Fabian Rude, Tristan Potters, Casper Onwin, Jake Sanson and David. No, I don't believe David Francic's racing, so it'll be Jake Sanson bringing up the field in 28th position. So 28 cars are going to start this race. It's one of the most packed fields I've seen, and I can imagine that might well make the first lap a bit chaotic. But whatever the case, that's how the grid lines up, barring any penalties. And I did check the penalty page earlier. I don't believe there are any properly significant ones that will affect the top of the order. I'll just check that again quickly before I make a complete fool of myself by getting that completely wrong. If I can stop clicking all of the wrong buttons, that might help quite a bit. Johan Lindberg, who qualified 8th, has just typed that they should use his second fastest time. So that's we have a rule here in the GPVWC that if you exceed the track limits on your qualifying time, you can type for your second fastest lap to be used rather than your fastest time, and that just excludes the risk of you getting put to the back of the grid for the next event, because of course we have very limited time here, and we can't really judge incidents as the sessions are going on. Therefore, the laps have to be reviewed after the whole event, and therefore a penalty would have to occur next round rather than this round. So that's just explaining what happened there. Matthias Dubrowski back of the grid penalty for track limits in the last event. Christoph Liechtenstein, Matthew Marquard, who actually qualified second there. So Marquard will be starting from near the back of the grid in this race, I believe, if I'm not very much mistaken. So that's quite dramatic. That would put Bastian Peisler up to second on the grid and Rico Lille up to third. So that would have a big effect on the podium. Matthias Sibinski is going to start from near the back of the grid as well, and that, I believe, well, actually, I've only looked through the qualifying sanctions from the last race. Who else? Clemens Filt, is he in this round? I don't believe I've actually seen him today. No Clemens Filt. So that's it then. That will be the penalties for this upcoming round. I believe so, unless I made a big mistake, which isn't completely unlikely. There were quite a few penalties for this round, but quite a few of them appear to be people who aren't actually here. Whether that's tactically or not, never mind. Now, 5-minute warm-up session. So this session here, as I've said previously, is just, well, it's a 5-minute warm-up session, isn't it? So it's just the last time that the drivers get to see the track before they have to go at it in a race situation, barring the warm-up lap, of course, the formation lap at the start of the race. So this is just the very last chance to get a feel for how the car feels with high fuel loads. Ooh, Chris Butcher has a bit of a slide. High fuel loads in the car. Just getting used to possibly alternative lines. I always like to look for alternative lines in these warm-up sessions, just so you know where you can pull an overtake and how the track feels if you are going to pull an overtake there. So that's what they'll be doing now for the remaining 4 minutes. Just watching Chris Butcher going around, actually. He seems to be on it. I mean, this looks very much like a qualifying lap, actually. Let's see what the time is. Of course, we'll have to wait another lap because that was just him setting up for the lap. But looks to be running quite an aggressive setup, actually. The rear end stepped out a few times. Not disastrously. I mean, he's been able to hold it all of those times, but the car just seems a little bit unstable. Some drivers really do like the car to be a little bit unstable beneath them, though. They like the car to move around a lot, and while that does have a negative effect on the tyres, and therefore doesn't help you really in the long run, it can help you to get a quick first few laps while the tires are still prime, and therefore you can get the track position early on in the race and hold it if you're a confident driver. So, Chris Butcher coming through the final corner now. I'm just going to see what the warm-up time is. Again, this doesn't affect how the grid lines up, and it doesn't affect the actual race order at all. This is just an indicator of where the drivers are. 19.802 for a warm-up lap. That's really not bad. That's only about 3 or 4 tenths off what they were doing in qualifying. So, obviously he's just trying to lap the track in anger and see what he can do when he pushes and how the car feels when it's being pushed. The beauty of these, as Jake Sanson has a crash. The beauty of these Formula Challenge cars is that you can push them pretty much 100% of the time. Of course, tire wear and fuel usage are problems in these cars, and they do occur, but the cars are just so kind of nimble. And I mean, it tends to be that we either get a race where everyone pits or a race where no one pits in this category, which means that you don't really have to worry about strategy too much. You can just go for it. And that's one of the things I like about the series. Jonas Lanella types Rico Lil could be the black horse in this race, and indeed he could be, because I'll tell you what, he appears to. Oh well, as soon as I say he appears to be on a really quick lap, he returns to the pits. Never mind. But yeah, Rico Lil, I've been really impressed with his performance so far in this event. Of course, I've only seen him in this event. I haven't seen him at any other tracks, and I don't believe he's actually done any other races this series so far. But from what I've seen from him so far, he's been very quick. Of course, very nearly got pole in qualifying. I believe he was only about 5 tenths off pole. Did end up getting demoted in the end by quite a few drivers, and I believe he'll start from 3rd. Well, that means he got demoted by 2 drivers, but 3 if you count Matthew Marquardt, who's going to be starting from the back of the grid anyway. So indeed, Rico Lil could definitely be a dark horse in this race. I don't know how he is for when it comes to things such as tire wear and fuel usage and things like that. But yeah, we'll just have to see. So, as Fabian Ruder, my teammate from the ITC, just points out quickly in the YouTube chat, it's race time, boys and girls. So strap in. so strap in and get ready for the excitement that's about to commence. Moving to race in a moment, types the race director. That's always the message that gets hearts pumping. At this stage, I mean, even if you're only here for fun and you're not doing a full season and you're not contesting for championship points, or you're not starting particularly high up in the field, it still gets the heart pumping. The start of a race is one of the most electric atmospheres in the world. Especially when it's a Formula E race, crash. But anyway, it's one of the most electric atmospheres in the world. It's just when you're sitting on the grid, especially, and you see those lights coming on. I mean, the revs rise with your heart rate, honestly, and that can help with the production of adrenaline, of course, which does actually really help in races like this. If more adrenaline is pumping, you will feel more on top of it, and that theoretically makes the cars go faster, and the drivers can really feel that. A driver will be able to tell you after a race whether he felt like he was on it or not, and that's all to do with how in the zone you can make yourself in this time and things such as that. Quite a few of the messages in the YouTube chat at the moment appear to be about Rico Lil. Really curious to see how Rico will perform in the race, says Holland Racing Team and me, because I am really curious to see how he will perform in the race. Starting third place in this in this event, and it will be very interesting to see what he can do. So, as we head away on the formation lap again, a quick run through of the adjusted grid, along with all of the penalties. Maciej Młynek will start from pole, who claimed the championship last time out in Mexico. Roy Schroten will start from alongside him. Of course, Schroten is second in the championship, so first and second starting first and second. Rico Lil, the talking point of the YouTube chat, is going to start from third place on the grid. Definitely keep an eye out for the GPVWC Academy car there. Chris Butcher will start from fourth. Bastian Paisler will start from fifth. Impressive qualifying from both of those. Roy Vasil starting from sixth. So let's see how Vasil will do in Brazil. Vasil, Brazil. Bruno Souza Ferreira is seventh. Johan Lindberg is eighth. Pedro Gomez is ninth. David Junt is 10th. Of course, Junt trying to keep his second place in the championship aspirations alive here. He's currently third in the championship. Matt Klipp will be 11th. Philip Koenig is 12th. Terence Gresh is 13th. Menno Klont is 14th. Ben Willis is 15th. Eric Stanford is 16th. Thomas Andrea Maharasur is 17th. Fabian Rieder, 18th. Brett Metcalf, 19th. Tristan Potters, 20th. Lucas Zimmermann, 21st. Jake Sanson, Matthias Debrowski, Christoph Lichtenstein. We're getting into the people with penalties now, starting from Debrowski. So it's Debrowski, Lichtenstein, Mark Breslin, 25th, Casper Unwin, Matthias Zubinski, and Matthew Marcard bringing up the rear. Of course, qualified third on the grid before the penalty. So definitely look out for Marcard. That was very much his way of saying, "I'm here. Look out for me." And indeed, do look out for him. Now, the leaders are on the grid. With a field this large, actually, it will probably be a big wait until they can get the race going. I don't know how this game deals with things like tires cooling down when you sit on the grid for a long time, but certainly in reality, some drivers really do complain when they have to sit on the grid for too long. Now, watch for the lights. All drivers are in position. 3 lights, 4 lights, 5 lights. Wait for them to go off. Off they go. We're underway here in Sao Paulo. Maciej Młynek is off first. He's going to lead into turn 1. Schroten's actually got quite a bad start there in second place. And Butcher's going to try to go around the outside of him. No, indeed. It's going to be Schroten second. We got a big crash down behind. One of the weighty F1 cars is off. I believe that was Johan Lindberg. Indeed, it was. I'm afraid we've got Lindberg and Paisler off at the rear. Both of those have lost their front wing. Paisler had a very good qualifying, but appears to have lost it all on the first lap. He is missing a front wing, as is Johan Lindberg, unfortunately. Mark Breslin's off. Oh my goodness, another massive accident at the next corner. Oh goodness, Lucas Zimmermann's off. Tristan Potters is off. Mark Breslin's off. Oh my word. Casper Onwin went off. Both of the Arrow International cars went off. Lucas Zimmermann is going off again. I believe he's going to retire from the race. Absolute carnage here on the opening lap. Now, the front of the field. The battle for first is nowhere near as close as the battle for second is, as we've got Schroten and Butcher nose to tail. Butcher on the back of Schroten, and that, of course, is for second in the race. Butcher, I believe, is actually David Junt's teammate, and Junt is fighting with Schroten for second place in the championship. So it'll be interesting to see what happens there and what David told Butcher before the race, in fact. But anyway, we have several pit stoppers at the end of the first lap, as expected. Paisler's in, of course. Lindberg's in. Dabrowski is in as well. That's one car I didn't see off the road. So Matthias Dabrowski also caught up in it. He's missing a front wing. Casper Onwin is in. Tristan Potters is in. And I'm afraid on that first lap, we did lose Lucas Zimmerman. So those are the pitters after lap 1. And the top 5 read as Munich, Schroten, Butcher, Vasil, and Gomez. Pedro Gomez up to 5th place now. I was impressed with Gomez's performance in my first commentary at Kota. Now watch the battle for 8th places. We've got Klont and Koenig side by side. Koenig is on the inside. Klont is on the outside, but that's going to completely switch. They bang wheels as Klont is going to head down the inside. No, he isn't. So Koenig gets the better run around the outside of the sweeper as we head down towards the final corner of the track. And Koenig will get 8th position there. Now, Maciej Munich has already started to clear off and extend his gap up the front. It's come out to almost 1.5 seconds already. This is what we're used to seeing from Maciej Munich as he leads the field round on this, the 3rd lap of running here at the Autodromo Jose Carlos Pache, rather. So it's Munich, Schroten, Butcher, Vasil, Gomez. Oh, I tell you, that's getting close for 4th. Clip, Suso Ferreira, Koenig, and Klont again side by side as Klont goes to the inside of turn 4. Klont gets out ahead this time. So, oh, and indeed, Koenig's got off. Koenig's had a spin. I didn't see quite how that happened, but I saw him dropping down the order, and and indeed, Koenig has gone for a spin. So we saw that Klont was down the inside. Koenig ran wide, possibly got 2 wheels on the white line. It was raining earlier on, so it might still be wet. If not, it can really suck you off anyway. So, unfortunately for Philip Koenig, he has dropped down to 14th place in that. So, reading more of the order as I left off, we have Gresh in 9th, Terence Gresh, David Junt up to 10th, then it's Ruder, Ziabinski, Stanford, Koenig, Andrea Maharasur, Lil, of course, recovering after being caught up in that opening incident, Metcalf, Marcard, Dreslin, Liechtenstein, Sanson, Willis, Peisler, Dabrowski, Lindbergh, Onwin, and Potters. One thing I noticed there was that Matthew Marcard is already up to 18th place with the opening carnage. So, out of the 28 starters, Matthew Marcard has made up 10 positions there, as we have another big sort out through turn 3. That's the battle for 11th with Ruder, Koenig, Ziabinski, Stanford, Andrea Amaharasur, Lil, and Metcalf. And now Andrea Amaharasur. Oh, I thought he was coming under attack from Lil, actually, but it was actually that he was getting ahead of Stanford. So, ahead of Stanford now goes Andrea Marisol, but Lil is now coming around the outside of him through turn 5. He's got past Brett Metcalf. Oh, Eric Stanford has... Stanford now runs wide and gives the place to Brett Metcalf, his teammate there. But whatever the case, Ziabinski has... Oh no, Andrea Marisol has made up a place in that, as has Lil. As Andrea Maharasur slightly slow off the corner out of the S's there, so we'll see if Lil can challenge down into turn 1. That's when all of the slipstream will come in handy, as Metcalf and Stanford battle again for 16th position, so 1 place outside of the points. They are teammates, of course, so they have to be careful not to come together, as Marcard's going to get involved as well. Indeed, there was not a change in the... oh wait, there was. So Lil did indeed get ahead of Andrea Maharasur down into turn 1, so that did change. Has Matthew Marcard been for a spin? I think he has, actually, because he dropped down through the... I'm just seeing it on the... I'm just seeing it on the YouTube chat, or the YouTube stream rather. Didn't quite see what happened there. Down into turn 4, we have more cars side by side, as we have done every lap of the race so far. That was Koenig and Ruder. Koenig has dropped 2 positions from last time I looked, now behind Ziabinski and Koenig, so that's changed. Andrea Maharasur is also now challenging Ruder around the outside. They bang wheels. They bang wheels in the S's, and now watch Brett Metcalf, as Metcalf is going to get involved in this as well. possibly try to get the switch back. He's going to dive up the inside. No, he isn't. He wasn't quite close enough there of Thomas Adrian Mahara, who is now going to attempt to get the slipstream on Fabian Rueda as they head down into turn 1. He might actually try to pull out before that. He's certainly getting close as he pulls out to the inside, and I believe that that's going to be over before the corner. So Rueda loses another place. Andrea Mahara gains another place. And there's contact. There's contact as they round turn 1. Rueda just got into the back of Andrea Mahara there. Harasur was pitched into the wall. Luckily, it seems like he's got going without too much damage there. I see changing in the order all the way through it now. Who was that? I'm not too sure. Andrea Mahara had to go very defensive from Brett Metcalf, from Eric Stanford rather. Metcalf's already got past him with that incident earlier on, and now Metcalf is on the rear of Fabian Rueda for 13th place. So that very nearly changed. I believe that Metcalf swerved more times. I mean, it swerved all over the place there, down into turn 5, just trying to get any sort of advantage on Fabian Rueda there. The gap for the lead has come right down now. 1.2 in it. It was 2 seconds just 2 laps ago. So Schroten can sniff a victory here. Let's see what he can do in the remaining roughly 70% or 60% of this race. It's now down to less than a second using the slipstream down into turn 4. So that is getting very close as Rico Lil gets pitched into another spin. Who was that in contact with? Oh, that was just a replay rather on the YouTube stream, but still that's a spin that I hadn't seen yet. So Lil has been for another spin and he's now pitting with missing front wing. So unfortunately for Lil, who looked very, very promising in qualifying for race 1, he's had to make another unscheduled pit stop, or rather his first one, but another setback. The gap for the lead is looking very close. Now it's less than half a second. Schroten, it might well challenge here down into turn 1. Keep your eyes firmly peeled on that battle here, as Schroten is going to be right in Winek's slipstream, heading down into turn 1. They're going through the final corner at the moment. Is Winek going to go defensive? He might not be able to, because there's an Arrow International car there. And as they head down into turn 1, Winek locks up. So the gap there was maintained at about 0.4 of a second, but that is about 1.5 seconds closer than it was 2 or 3 laps ago. And he might well challenge down into turn 4 now. He's certainly even closer now. I'd estimate the gap's down to 0.2. It was certainly 0.3 in the split there, in the sector split. But this is getting very, very close up front. I believe Winek also locked up slightly down into the down through turn 5 there. So Winek possibly under real pressure here from Roy Schroten up the front of the order on lap 8 out of 18. I'm afraid we have also lost from this race Matthias Dubrowski. Didn't see how that happened, but whoa! Oh, that was Casper Onwin having an issue down at the fast sweeper at the bottom end of the circuit and almost getting run into by his teammate Tristan Potters. He's missing a front wing. But again, I'm switching my attention back to the leaders because they're heading onto the pit straight again, and Winek is going even more defensive than he did last lap here. As they head down into turn 1 again, although Schroten again wasn't quite close enough, but we saw how close he got down into turn 4 this lap, or last lap rather. If he can get a good run down into turn 4, this could be very close. I don't think he's quite close enough this lap, unfortunately. So, unfortunately for Schroten, I don't think it's going to change just yet. Shout out to Chris Shepherd's daughter, who apparently is cheering on the white car. Which white car that is, I'm not quite sure, but the white car obviously has a supporter. I would count the number of white cars in this race, but But I'm too busy concentrating on the battle up front. It seems to really stretch out through turn 5 and then come straight back down again as they head through the first sweeper at the bottom end of the circuit. And Schroten is always right in that slipstream as they head onto the start-finish straight. This is the kind of battle that can continue for laps and laps and laps until someone makes a slight mistake or we have some stroke of genius from the driver behind. Whatever the case. Actually, he's getting rather close here. 3/10 was the gap as they cross the start-finish line there. That's the closest it has been across the start-finish line there. Although Schroden had a slight kick of oversteer through turn 2 there, so I don't know if he's quite going to be close enough down into turn 4. Oh, you bet he is! Look at this! As he ducks and weaves behind Maciej Młynek. No, not close enough for a move, but he's certainly pulled in again. You keep thinking this is the kind of battle that keeps making you think that it's going to that it's going to all kick off, and then somehow he's just not quite there. They're lapping pretty much identically. Look at the lap times from last lap. We got Maciej Młynek a 1:19.957, and then Roy Schroden a 1:19.877, so about a tenth faster there. But the previous lap a 1:20.061 from Młynek, a 1:20.118 from Schroten, so that was slower that time round, and that means that the gap is just coming out and in and out and in and out and in, as we so often see, as a driver goes for an attack one lap, then holds back for another and just regroups, goes for an attack the next lap, hangs back, attacks, hangs back, and that can continue race long. My goodness, this has been a really exciting race so far as we head on to lap 11. My goodness, this is going really quickly, actually. The race is almost over, actually. But don't go anywhere, because we do have another race after this, which will be a reverse grid race, which is always very exciting. Młynek goes slightly wide through turn 4 there, actually. Wasn't quite on the line I'd expect from him, but actually this time round, unfortunately, it looks as if Schroden has properly dropped back. Maybe there was a mistake I didn't quite see, but Schroden's lap that time round was about half a second slower than Mwynek's, and as a result, he's dropped right off the tail. So that unfortunately is over for now, but certainly not over for good. We'll have to see what Roy can do later on in the race. As Bastian Peisler is now right in the slipstream of Eric Stanford. He's going to go to the inside of turn 4. That's how it's done. Textbook overtake, and I don't think that Stanford's going to come back at him on the exit. Indeed, he isn't. So that was the move for 19th position there. So battles all the way through the order. Interestingly, the gap for the lead that time round came down by 2/10. So Młynek and Schroden now 8/10 apart. I see changes in the midfield. Oh, Christoph Lichtenstein's been for a spin. And one of the Arrow International cars bounces over the grass to avoid him. That's Casper Onwin, who goes for a bit of a slide. Yeah, Christoph Lichtenstein in a bit of a spot of bother further down the order. He's dropped to 19th position now. Didn't quite see how that happened, but whatever the case, it did. Just seeing a replay of this on the live stream now. There'll be a slight delay for you, so you would have already seen it. Yeah, he's just overcooked it. That's all there is to it. Sometimes it's very easy to do that. These cars just lose mechanical grip so quickly. I mean, you have so much mechanical grip when you do from these slick tyres. As Casper Onwin there, we see going for his big avoiding action. Better than running into the back of someone, that's for sure. But sometimes these cars just have so much mechanical grip with their slick tyres until they have none at all, and then it just goes. There's no saving it from there. So I've driven these cars. They are nightmares a lot of the time. Fun when you get it right, not so fun when you don't. Bit of debris on the road down at turn 3, actually, and I believe that Philip Koenig is pulling slightly. I think his suspension's slightly damaged. We'll have to see that when he gets onto a straight. No, maybe that was just my eyesight playing tricks on me. Yeah, possibly slightly hanging to the right. I'm not sure, but whatever the case, he seems more fine than I thought. What's that debris doing down there at turn 1 then? Is anyone missing their front wing? Oh, indeed they are. That's Fabian Ruder. So Fabian Ruder has had some kind of accident, presumably at turn 2. He is running in 22nd place at the moment. From this race, we have also lost Jake Sanson now. So unfortunately, we've lost another. He has our 3rd retirement of the day. Jake Sanson is out of the race as Fabian Ruder pits for a new front wing. Now, up the front of the order, the gap has maintained at 0.8 of a second. It was 0.7 last lap. It was 0.8 the lap before. It's been out and around there for quite a few laps now. Indeed, this time round it's 0.7 again. So that doesn't seem to be in any risk of changing. And I must say, hi to Jacob Dulas, who is in the chat at the moment, and is actually one of my classmates at school. So hi Jacob, good to see you're listening in. Anyway, back up the front of the order. Oh, actually, while I was looking away there, it has come down to 0.5 of a second. So half a second in it for the leaders now. This is the point where it starts to get serious. If the gap is out to 1 second, of course, yes, they're close enough for the slipstream, but to actually get close enough is another matter. 0.5? I mean, that's close. 0.5 is launch a dive bomb maneuver close. And I mean, I'm not saying that Schroten, of course, will. He's a very experienced driver. And he knows better than to risk anything, that could take them both out of the race very easily. But you never know. He's getting close. He's actually less than half a second away now. So it is certainly getting very, very close there. Indeed, I believe he's going to be right in the slipstream, down into turn 4. Is he going to pull a move? He's dived to the inside. This is for the lead of the race. No, I believe he was just showing his nose there. Wasn't properly committed to it. He was just trying to force Winnick into a mistake. But my goodness, he's certainly the closest. That's the closest I've seen this gap all race. It's down to 0.1 of a second in the last split. 0.1 of a second there. About 1.5 actually, if I'm going to be pedantic, but whatever the case, it's certainly very, very close. And the battle for 4th is getting close as well, with Roy Vigil 4th and Pedro Gomez 5th, separated by about 0.2 of a second. So that's getting very close. They'll be in slipstreaming range. Talking of the slipstreaming range, Schroten and Winnick are now onto the pit straight. So we'll see what they can do this time round. I'm more interested in the gap than the actual attempt, because I don't think he'll be close enough to challenge into turn 1. It's less than 0.4 now. Less than 0.4. This is attack time for Roy Schroten as he heads down into turn 4. He might not get another opportunity like this. Look how close he is to the rear wing of Winnick. Winnick can only defend once as he heads down into turn 4. Again, Schroten's not quite going to be close enough. It's been like this all day, all race rather, and yet he just wasn't. And yet he just wasn't quite close enough. 0.2 of a second it was then. 0.2 of a second. My goodness. Now, as we head on to the start-finish straight. Oh, wrong part of the course, rather. We've got another 3 corners to go. Never mind. As we head 3 corners towards the start-finish straight here, we are going to... breaking news. Jake Sanson is withdrawing from race 2. So... unfortunately, that's the end of Jake Sanson that we've seen for this weekend. Also, that is also the end of Casper Onwin that we've seen this weekend. So Onwin is unfortunately out of this race. and Jake Sanson appears to be out of the weekend for good. So unfortunate there. I was looking forward to seeing how he could improve for race 2, but unfortunately we won't be able to see this in this particular event. Oh gosh, chat's getting a bit crowded at the moment, but never mind. Oh, Ben Willis has made up a place since last time I looked on Thomas Andrea Maharasa, who is now also under attack from Bastian Paisler. So Paisler to the inside as they're going to head down into turn 1. In fact, Paisler's gained a lot in that sector, and he dives it to the inside and gets into 17th position. So he's only just outside of the points now. But we'll see what he can do later on in the race. Of course, Paisler did very well in qualifying, but was caught out in that opening instant, and unfortunately dropped right the way down the order. So we didn't see much of him at the start of the race, but we're just seeing him fighting his way back through now. It's often quite difficult to overtake in these cars because they don't really follow the car in front very well, and it's very easy to make a mistake in traffic. But whatever the case, Bastian Paisler is now up to 17th position and has actually gained a lot on Ben Willis in that last sector. Up the front, I believe there's been some kind of mistake from Roy Schroten because he's dropped about a second from where he last was. He's now about a second and a half off the leader. So the battle for the lead over for now, but by no means for good. We are indeed on to the final lap of the race now, as Paisler pulls a move again around the outside of Ben Willis. So he needs to make up one more position to get into the points as we head around the final corner for the final time in this race. And despite immense pressure from Roy Schroten, Maciej Młynek is going to cross the line in first position. There he goes. Młynek first, Schroten second. Less than a second away, actually. So it wasn't. It was a close finish. It wasn't the. It wasn't as far as it was the previous lap. Chris Butcher comes home in third place. Vasil is fourth. That's Roy Vasil. Pedro Gomez is fifth. Terence Gresh is sixth. Matt Klipp is going to be seventh, and he crosses the line now. What's the battle for eighth behind? That's going to be settled in terms of Menno Klont from David Junt. Matthias Zubinski is 10th. Bruno Cesar Ferreira is 11th. Philip Koenig is 12th. Matthew Marquardt is going to recover from his penalty to be 13th position. Brett Metcalf is 14th. The last point goes to Mark Breslin in 15th. 16th and just out of the points is Bastian Paisler after that brilliant recovery up the field. Unfortunately, he's just going to miss out on the contention for the reverse grid pole. 17th is Ben Willis, followed by Thomas Andrea Maharasa, Christoph Lichtenstein, Johan Lindberg. I don't know why I said Johan Lindberg. Eric Stanford, Rico Lill, Tristan Potters, Fabian Ruder, and then we reach the DNFs in Kasper Unwin, Jake Sanson, Matthias Dabrowski, and Lucas Zimmermann. So that is the order for race 1, and it's the Polish driver Maciej Młynek on top. Now that's not the end from this event, of course. We have one more race, which will be a reverse grid race. So a number from I believe it's 10 to 15 will be picked at random, and out of that random number, the top part of the grid in terms of that number, if that makes sense. So if 13's picked, for example, the top 13 cars will be reversed, and that would put incidentally Matthew Marquardt on pole and Maciej Młynek 13th. But of course, I'm not saying that Marquardt is on pole. It all depends on what position is picked for the reverse grid. If it is 10th to 15th, like I think it is, then the candidates for that are Matthias Ziobinski, Bruno Souza Ferreira, Philip Koenig, Matthew Marquardt, Brett Metcalf, and Mark Breslin. And quite a few of those guys would be very entertaining to watch from the front. I'm interested to see what some of those could do. So whoever they pick, I'm sure it's going to be quite an interesting race too. Race 1 though was definitely not without its drama. I mean, Schroten and Winnick within a second of and a half of each other from lap 3 all the way through to the end. Absolutely head to tail the whole way through. And Schroten challenged once, but only that once. He couldn't quite match the pace of Maciej Winnick on the whole, and that one time was not quite enough to give him the race win. So we're now going to move into another quick warm-up session as the drivers resolve their many incidents and accidents in the chat. Hopefully, we won't see so much of that in race 2. Unfortunately, there was quite a lot of it in this event, especially near the start. But whatever the case, it was a clean race up front, and the top 2 certainly were very, very close. Anyway, I'm going to go for a quick break, have a quick drink, and so forth. And I will be back for race 2 starting shortly. So I will see you then. Right, everyone. So, with warm-up coming to a close, I think I just made about half of you jump. We have 7 seconds left of warm-up, and then we will be heading to the grid for the second formation lap, and then the second race of the day. Chris Butcher just set the fastest time in warm-up 2, but of course, that is not completely pointless again. It just kind of proves your point to the other drivers, but it doesn't affect the it doesn't affect the actual race position or grid position rather. The reverse grid has been drawn as number 12, so Philip Koenig will be on pole position. I will read out the whole grid once I get it. But we have Philip Koenig on pole for race 2 here. And Koenig is currently third in the warm-up time. So we'll see what he can do in the race 2. Again, checkered flag has started to fly for this warm-up session here. So as soon as everyone's ready and as soon as the race director decides so, we will be heading to race 2. We have gained another car for this second race. Ryan Nash is going to be starting race 2. He couldn't make race 1, but he will be here for this race 2. Although we have also lost a car in David Francic, and David Francic? What? Sorry, I meant Jake Sanson. Sorry. Jake Sanson we've lost, I'm afraid. We've also lost another driver, if the timesheet is to be believed, but I can't quite work out who that is. If someone can help me in the chat, that would be that would be handy. I believe someone's typing something, so that's good. I'm going to try and work it out from the order. Is it Tristan Potters? Where's Potters? I don't. Okay, I don't see Tristan Potters. Yeah, right. David Francic types, haha, I got worried for a moment there. Sorry about that. For some reason, I just have a habit of saying your name. I mean, I'll tell you a story about that later, actually. But anyway, believe we've lost Jake Sanson and Tristan Potters from this second race, and we must have also lost a third driver because Ryan Nash's addition makes it 26. So we've lost another. Who would that be? Casper Onwin, isn't it? Yeah, Casper Onwin is missing. So we've lost Jake Sanson, we've lost Tristan Potters, and we've lost Casper Onwin. So unfortunately, 3 drivers not here for race 2. Although we have gained Ryan Nash, so we will have 26 starters as opposed to the 28 from race 1. But with the reverse grid drawn, I'm sure it will still be a very entertaining race. Again, I'll read out the order when I get it. We've only got 1 car out on track at the moment in this warm-up session after the checkered flag, and that's Menno Klont, who I believe is just returning to pits now. So apparently Tristan is intending to start. So Tristan Potters, yeah, I'm hearing from Fabian Ruder that Tristan Potters is intending to start. Yeah, indeed, he's in. So we haven't lost Tristan Potters. He's just come in slightly late. But that's fine because he's here now. So we have 27 starters proposed. I don't think that Casper or Jake are going to start. Jake definitely isn't. He's already said that he isn't. Haven't heard from Casper, but I presume he isn't starting because he's not here. Oh, I'm hearing from Fabian Ruder that Tristan's internet fell off. So he's just coming back now. So after some internet difficulties, Tristan Potters is back in. and that makes 27 starters as we're about to head to the race. First place in that warm-up session was indeed Chris Butcher, but as I said, that's not entirely reflective of true pace because it is only a warm-up session. Quite a lot of camber that car's running, actually, Chris Butcher. In fact, both of the red arrows are, from what I can see. Anyway, that cool there is to call the drivers to the grid, and I can start to read out the grid formation now. So we've got Philip Koenig starting from the front of the grid, Bruno Souza Ferreira starting second, Matthias Ziubinski starting third, David Yunt starting fourth, Menno Klont starting fifth, Matt Klipp sixth. Then it's Gresh, Gomez, Vazil, Butcher, Schroten, Winnick, race one winner, Marcard, Metcalf, Breslin, Peisler, Willis, Andrea Maharisser, Liechtenstein, Lindbergh, Stanford, Lille, Ruder, Dabrowski, Zimmerman, and Nash. Oh, there's only 26 cars. Where's the 27th? Oh, Tristan Potts has gone again. Is he starting? Well, if he's not here by now, then I don't think he is, unfortunately. So it looks as if Tristan's internet difficulties might well restrict him from starting this race. I'll update you if he does pop back in. But it looks as if we're going to have 26 starters in this race here. Yep, indeed. Fabian Ruder says more internet problems. RAP Tristan Potters. Now I hope that means Tristan Potter's internet rather than Tristan himself, because whilst this is sim racing, we were definitely, or whilst this is racing, this is sim racing, so we weren't expecting a fatality today. But anyway, Philip Koenig now leads them away on their formation lap as they head to the grid for the second and final time today. Of course, there are three races in an ITC weekend, but this isn't ITC. This is Formula Challenge. There are also two races. So there are two races in this, as well as there are in Super Cup. And there's one race, I believe, in Super League. But as I said, this is Formula Challenge. So Philip Koenig just making his way around to the grid. 26 cars starting this race. Philip Koenig the first of them, Ryan Nash the last of them. So it's a complete bookend of the grid for that team there. Holland Racing Team types in the YouTube chat, fingers crossed for no crash fest start this time. Indeed, it did actually take out one of their drivers in race one. Well, not take him out, but take him out of contention. Bastian Peisler ended up getting caught out in some opening carnage in race one, and they'll certainly be hoping that doesn't happen again. Philip Koenig lines up on the grid a long way ahead of the rest of the field. Now that's very interesting because that means that he's going to be waiting for by far the longest, and he would be waiting the longest anyway. But he wouldn't want to have been waiting that long, and I'm wondering if his tyres will go slightly off temperature here. But again, I'm not entirely sure how well this league makes them. Now, the grid is going to be lined up by Ryan Nash at the back there. And we're going to wait for the lights. 3, 4, 5. Off we go for the second time in Formula Challenge. It flies as several cars get wheel spin further back. Ziubinski gets a good start. Yunt gets a bad start. It's going to be Koenig into turn 1 in the lead. Ziubinski is going to be second, followed by Klont. Are we going to get any instant further back? Yes, we are. Round goes Fabian Ruder. So, Matt Klipp, rather. Matt Klipp. So, Matt Klipp has had a spin, but he appears to have got going without any damage. Also, although Fabian Ruder does appear to have had an instant further back, because we got 2 cars dropped behind the field. Oh, 3 cars, rather. Stanford, Liechtenstein, and Ruder have dropped behind. Up the front of the field, Koenig is leading from Ziubinski. they are well clear of the pack behind. And I believe, actually, Matt Clip, I don't think he actually lost a place in that. He's still in 15th place. Actually, I think he was further up the field than that, but he hasn't lost that many places. He's still in the points, although he's really battling Bastian Paisler for 14th place here as they head through the S's. Now, as they head into the first proper slipstreaming zone for the first time, what will Mateusz Ziebinski do about Philip Koenig for first place here? The gap is very, very close. He's right in the slipstream. Let's see what he can do down into turn 1. He might even pull out now. He is going to. They're going to be side by side across the line. Nothing in it. And Ziebinski goes to the inside and takes the lead. We've had a change for lead here in the second race of the Formula Challenge weekend, as Philip Koenig is demoted to second, but he's right back in the slipstream, heading down into turn 4. Let's see what he can do here. Is it going to change again? Ziebinski defends it really well. Koenig's going to have to go to the outside, and I believe that Ziebinski is going to maintain the lead. So that's the order so far. Although I tell you what, Koenig was looking almost onto the grass there as they went through turn 5. I believe we have already, as Nash and Liechtenstein are off at the back. I believe we have already lost a driver from this race. It is Fabian Rieder in the Royal Blue Racing car. So unfortunately for Fabian, he is out of this race early. Oh, Lucas Zimmermann going for a spin down in the S's. Recovers that very nicely, but it was still a spin there. And there was no change up front, so Ziebinski still leads from Koenig and Klont, although Klont is going to get right back behind Koenig, but he won't want to stay behind him for long. He's side by side him through the final corner, doesn't even wait for the slipstream on the straight. They bang wheels slightly as they head down into turn 1. Klont's going to have the inside, and he does indeed go through. So we have purple cars 1, 2 up the front there. The Godona Engineering cars are first and second, with Ziebinski first and Klont second. Koenig's going to have a brief look at Klont there through turn 4, but he's nowhere near close enough. But look at David Junt. Junt is right on their tail now, and he might well capitalise on this down into turn 5. We very rarely see moves there, so he might need to wait until they head onto the start-finish straight for the next time. These cars very area dependent, so there tend to be not many overtakes in the corners, but when it comes to these straights, we see a lot of slipstreaming. Not quite Super Cup levels, but still a lot of slipstreaming as they head through the fast sweeper. Of course, it's all about just sticking with the car in front of you until you get onto that get onto that pit straight, where you can start to slipstream. Ziebinski is really cleared off out front. The gap now is 1.6 seconds up front, so that's come out. But second place still close. In fact, closer than it was, as Klont and Koenig. And Junt's going to go to the inside of Koenig, just showing his nose there, just trying to force an error from Philip Koenig ahead of him. The order there stays the same. Oh, actually, Pedro Gomez is going to... Oh, there's contact! Junt goes around. Recovers it very, very well. What a stave. Max Verstappen-ish. But unfortunately, he's dropped to 8th position. Might lose more places here, as Bruno Cesar Ferreira is going to go through as well. They bang wheels there. They bang wheels, and Schroeter is going to go to the inside of him too. Junt down to 10th. So unfortunately for Junt, it looks as if Koenig just... not Koenig, Gomez just kind of misjudged it and clipped him as they rounded turn 3. If I had to apportion blame to anyone, I would say it was Pedro Gomez's fault. But again, I'm not the race steward, so it'll be interesting to see what they say about that. But that's just speculation. As Koenig, I genuinely thought he was going to have a challenge down into the penultimate corner there. He certainly looked close enough. And he was definitely in the... he definitely went for a dive into the braking zone, but whether he was fully committed to that or not, I'm not quite sure. Now you've got 3 cars in the slipstream heading down into turn 2. It's a Red Arrow Racing car behind them, but this time it's Chris Butcher who's going to go to the inside and possibly take third position. No, he isn't. Whoa, contact for second as Klont gets a bad run and got more contact. Butcher goes round. Butcher and Koenig off the road. More contact there. Butcher heavily into the wall. Luckily not losing his rear wing. Oh my goodness, it's all kicked off there. It looks to me as if what happened was that Klont got a poor run out of turn 2. Koenig wasn't quite expecting that and clipped him. And in all of the confusion, Chris Butcher got tipped into a spin as well, as Gresh now challenges for 4th place, and Gomez is off. Oh, no, just went wide, not quite off, but Gomez loses that place, and Gresh is up to 4th. And in all of the chaos, look who's in 3rd place. It's Maciej Młynek. Maciej Młynek, our race 1 winner, has sneaked his way somehow through the chaos to reach 3rd position. He's on the podium. This will be a double podium for Maciej Młynek if he makes this. Tristan Potters types, "Poof, I hate my internet." Don't we all at times? Very unfortunate not to see you in this race, Tristan. Battle for 2nd again on pretty much. Again, it's a different person. Every time it's a different person challenging Klont. This time it's Maciej Młynek, who wasn't quite close enough that time. Klont drives the defensive line to the inside, and he's going to keep that place for now. But Młynek, I believe, was just setting himself up for this long straight here, down into turn 4. Although Klont defends again, takes the inside line. Whoa, Młynek braked later than I thought he would. He's going to drive right round the outside of him. He does indeed. So Młynek is up to 2nd place. He did... I'm going to say he ran 4 wheels over the line. Now, I don't know if he's going to... if there's going to be an investigation about that. If I was Klont, I'd definitely pick it up with the stewards. But again, I'm not here to judge instance. But whatever the case, track limits, of course, have been very much in the news recently. You all know what I'm referencing there, and I don't quite know how this race director will view that. Matthew Marquardt is missing a front wing. Matthias Dabrowski is out of the race. Rico Lil is out of the race. The person everyone was talking about before the weekend has not got very far, I'm afraid. Out on lap 5. Matthias Dabrowski is also out. Brett Metcalf has been into the pits, so I believe that he's had some kind of incident further down the order. Marquardt's going to pit this time round. So it's all gone wrong down in the bottom half of the order while I've been watching the top half. Talking of the top half, that's gone wrong too. Terence Gresh, who was running 4th, has had a spin as... oh, I believe several cars just ran wide up the top of turn 5. I think I'm about to see a replay of Matthew Marquardt's incident. No, I'm not. Never mind. But whatever the case, Terence Gresh has spun away 4th position, and now Roy Schroten is challenging for 5th on Bastian Peisler as they headed up to turn 5 there. Although Peisler defensive enough there. You don't have to be very defensive there because it is a very difficult place to overtake. Very fast corner, not much of a braking zone. So you have to be very brave or very daredevilish to... well, they're both the same thing in a way, but to pull a move there. And to be honest, that's probably not the best thing to be doing at this stage in the race, as Schroten gets a bit of a kick of oversteer heading through the penultimate corner there. Gresh is going to be right back in his slipstream here as they head out onto the pit straight. That gap's really come down. Indeed, it's come down further. They're almost side by side as they head through turn 1, and Schroten locks up. Schroten locks up slightly, but seems to be fine for now. So that's staying stationary. Not stationary, rather. I mean, they're definitely moving, but the gap, the gap is the same for now. And I believe I made a silly mistake earlier on when I said when I called the purple team the Godona Racing team, which is not their name. In fact, Godona Designs is just written on their rear wing. It is indeed Stax Racing. So Stax Racing and I apologise for I apologise for that. Now, as we head out onto the start-finish straight for the 8th time, Menno Clont is now under attack from Pedro Gomez, more so than he was previously. Gomez has pulled the gap to less than half a second now, so that is certainly coming down, and that will be one to watch as they head through turn 4. He's certainly not close enough as they head through turn 1. He's just kind of setting himself up. Godona types. It was Godona Engineering, you said. Oh, I got it even more wrong. Whoops. But I don't mind. Good. Right, so he doesn't mind that. That's so I didn't seriously offend anyone. Good. That's haven't yet done that in commentary, and I'm not intending to. Terence Gresh is off. Terence Gresh is off down at turn 4. Didn't see what happened, but it appears that Gresh, who of course we saw spinning away from 4th place earlier, has now spun away from 7th place, I believe it was. So Gresh, unfortunately, Gresh's race going from bad to worse there. Whatever happened, and Clont and Gomez are side by side. Gomez is going to get the switch back down towards the penultimate corner. Not there. So, although I tell you what, he's right on him. He's right on him as they head onto the start-finish straight for the 9th time, and they're going to be side by side, banging wheels, as so many cars have done this event. Just letting each other know they're there as they head down into turn 1, and it's going to be Clont on the inside still. So Clont's going to keep that position for now. But watch Gomez as he's getting the switch back at every single corner, just trying to maintain the momentum. And look at this, he's possibly going to be passing before the corner. He's pulling to the outside, although that's the point where the air resistance just hits you in the face like a sledgehammer. And Clont is able to keep it for now. To be honest, I wasn't expecting him to keep it there, but that is the case, so the podium stays the same for now. Although I tell you what, the gap for the lead's actually coming down slightly. That's down to just a second now. So Winnick really catching Ziabinski as we're about half of the way through this race, but I don't know if that's going to stay the same. Still plenty of time for it. Oh my goodness! I was just about to say plenty of time for it to change, and it's changed. Well, the order hasn't, but Winnick has now come down to less than 0.4 of a second behind Mateusz Ziabinski. And my goodness, he was a second apart recently. Now he's 0.2 apart. In just a sector, he's pulled 0.7 on the race leader here, and he's going to challenge him down into turn 4. Watch this as he uses the Pedro Gomez line, I'm going to call it, and he's going to go to the inside. So he's going to do it slightly differently to how Pedro Gomez designed it, and he's going to try and outbrake Ziabinski into turn 4, and he pulls it. Maciej Winnick has taken the lead of this race, as he did right from the start of race 1, and it might well be a double win here from Maciej Winnick. I don't want to put the commentator's curse on him, but Winnick has taken the lead of this race. What a driver. Oh, contact down at turn 4 for 4th position. Gomez, Schroten, Peisler and Clont have been fighting over that 3rd position for a while now, and I just saw some slight contact down at turn 4 from them as we have a crash. That's Bruno Souza Ferreira and Christoph Lichtenstein, who are both out of the race now, I'm afraid, further down the order. Also, since... Oh, Ryan Nash is off. Didn't see how that happened. Also, since last time I've looked, Lucas Zimmerman is out and Matthias Dabrowski is out. Did I say Dabrowski was out before? I'm not quite sure. The gap for the lead has come down again in the opposite way now, so we'll see if Ziabinski can challenge down into turn 4. I wouldn't actually... Oh no, he's made a mistake in turn 2. I was about to say I wouldn't be surprised if he can if he can show his nose back to Maciej down into turn 4. Using the slipstream this time around, but as soon as I said that, or before I'd even said that, he made a slight mistake down through turn 2. There's contact. Oh my goodness, who was that? That was one of the bluish cars. It was who was that? It would have either been... that was Roy Schroten. So Roy Schroten had a slight spin at turn 2 there after contact with his teammate and another car. I think it was either Roy Pagil or Bastian Paisler. Just saw that on oh no, it was Menno Klont. Menno Klont also in there. I'm just seeing that in slow motion replay. Oh, looks like Klont just understeered into both of them. So I'm not entirely... Again, I keep having to say this because I've been told off in the past for trying to sound too much like a steward, but it looked to me as if he just got a bit of understeer and just slightly understeered into the two blue cars. So a shame, but these things happen. Oh, and off again! Off again goes Pedro Gomez, down in the same place, turn 2. He was fighting again with Klont, Vasil and Paisler, and he's now lost out to all of those, down into 6th position. Klont and Vasil are side by side for 3rd place for the final spot on the podium. Vasil goes round the outside. That's not going to work. Paisler's going to stick his nose in there, right where it's not wanted from Roy Vasil. But... And also Johan Lindberg is going to pull a move on Pedro Gomez in the background as well. No, he isn't. And the order somehow stays the same. How does it stay the same? My goodness. And again, Paisler sees the gap and pokes his nose right alongside Roy Vigil there. And now Gomez is going to do the exact same thing. It's just constant overlap. Whoever you look at, they're overlapping with someone. It's a different person to who they were overlapping with a second ago, but it's someone nonetheless, as Vigil gets a slight kick of oversteer through the penultimate corner there. And that's going to allow Paisler to get right on the rear end as they head down towards turn 1 for the 13th time. And will he pull out? Yes, he will. To the inside. Good defense from Roy Vigil, who moves over and blocks that position. So Vigil keeps 4th position for now. Paisler has to stick with 5th. The order before... Oh no, I shouldn't read out the order because it's about to change again. Paisler, Gomez and Vasil side by side. They're pretty much... Well, oh, contact! Gomez has been tipped into a spin. Lindberg around 2. Lindberg off the road with Gomez. It looks as if Lindberg just misjudged the braking distance, the braking point of Pedro Gomez's car. And unfortunately, they both went off the road. So that has... all happened there as Klont... Oh, Vigil's off. Vigil is off the road and Paisler's out. What on earth? Everything's happening. Paisler is out. Vigil is off. He's back on again now, just ahead of Roy Schroten, who somehow is back up to 5th place. And now up to 4th place. Oh no, never mind. Vigil defended that. Chris Butcher is 6th. Klont is 3rd. Oh my goodness. Oh, goodness. Chris Butcher now back in the slipstream of Roy Schroten as they head down into turn 1. Oh no, Schroten is more likely to attack Vigil. He's going to go to the outside there, and they're going to go 3 wide into turn 1. This is a recipe for disaster, surely. Big lockup from Chris Butcher, but somehow they all make it through there. And oh goodness. What's the point of me commentating on this? Because as soon as I say something, it changes. Oh gosh. The gap for the lead, incidentally, because that's the only same thing left in the race, is 2 seconds apart now. So Munich definitely pulling out that gap. Oh, Yunt's off. David Yunt has been off at turn 4 there. Oh, side by side, Klipp and Koenig for 10th place. Klipp's on the inside, Koenig's on the outside. Although there's contact even there as Koenig runs slightly into the rear of Klipp. Klipp goes wide on the exit of the first S, and Koenig is going to try to get the switch back there, heading down into the second of the Senna S's. Possibly going to go around the outside here. No, that would have been a brilliant move if it had worked. But he's more likely to come under attack from Ben Willis here. So that's all kicking off. Chris Butcher has been for another spin, I see. He's down in 15th place now. we really haven't got that many cars remaining in the race, actually. I'll read out all the retirement. Peisler out, Ferreira out, Liechtenstein out, Zimmerman out, Dabrowski out, Lil out, and Ruder out. And Ryan Nash has just been for a spin. So those are all of the many retirements so far. Now the battle of the third is back on. Klont's on the inside, Schroten's on the outside. Schroten is in 4th place now, ahead of Vigil after Vigil's... Oh, wow, great switchback from Schroten. He's going to get on the opposite side. Oh, they bang wheels once, they bang wheels twice. The opposite side of Klont, but that's the wrong side to be on for turn 5, as Klont is going to keep that, but he's locked up, and Schroten gets the move. So Schroten up to 3rd place now, final spot on the podium. Oh, and yes, Tristan Potters also points out in the chat that if you count the non-starters as DNFs, then there were 2 more than I 3 more than I pointed out anyway. So that does add to it, actually. If you count the entries into the entire event, 10 retirements. My goodness, 10 retirements in this if you count the people who did not start this race but started race 1 as well. That is mayhem. Anyway, luckily we appear to have a slightly peaceful gap in the orders. David Yunt has a big twitch while racing Terence Gresh. I believe there was slight contact there as well. But anyway, the order for now is Munich, Ziabinski, Schroten, Vazil, Klont, Gomez, Lindbergh, Gresh, Yunt, Klipp, Koenig, Willis, Stanford, Butcher, Breslin, Andrea Maharasur, Marquardt, Metcalf, and Nash. But Andrea Maharasur and Breslin are side by side for 15th and the final points position. Breslin's going to have the inside for that and claim it for now. Although he does run very wide and over the grass, in fact, and Andrea Maharasur claims it straight back again. So Andrea Maharasur currently in 15th spot in this race, and with the final points paying position. And if it stays the same way as it is now, then that will be the order. But it won't stay the same way as it is now, because Gomez and Lindbergh are side by side, heading down into the penultimate turn, and Gomez just got close enough to Menno Klont to touch him as well. So these three in a little tussle of their own for 5th position. Klont defends the inside. Gomez is going to be right under him though as we head into turn 1. Are they going to go 3 wide? They thought about it. Lindbergh certainly thought about making it 3 wide. Thinks better of it though, as Gomez gets a switch back on Klont, and Klont almost runs Lindbergh out of road. Not deliberately, I should immediately point out. But that's what happened. Lindbergh just getting run out of room a bit. Willis and Yunt are side by side. Klont and Klipp Koenig and Klipp, sorry, side by side. Koenig Klipp's Klipp in the rear as they head through turn 4, and he's going to be right on him as they head out to turn 5. Yunt also trying to get the place back to Ben Willis, the place that he just lost there for 11th position, and indeed does so as Willis goes slightly wide. That was a really good example of the switch back there from David Yunt. My goodness, as we have Koenig and Klipp back on it again. Actually, they're slightly further away than I thought they were just then. But meanwhile, Maciej Winnick has been utterly dominant this race, and he has won the race. So Maciej Winnick wins the race by 6.3 seconds from Mateusz Ziabinski. Roy Schroten is going to come home in 3rd position, followed by Roy Vazil. Pedro Gomez, good result from the Thunderdogs, actually, getting very high up the order, 3rd and 5th. Menno Klont is just going to hold on from Johan Lindbergh. That very nearly changed there at the end. He's in the slipstream. Terence Gresh was 8th, Matt Klipp was 9th, Philip Koenig was 10th, David Yunt was 11th, Ben Willis was 12th, Eric Stanford was 13th, Thomas Andrea Maharasur was 14th, Mark Breslin took the final point in 15th. Chris Butcher will come home to finish just outside of the points in 16th, followed by Matthew Marquardt, who was also involved in incidents today, Brett Metcalf, and Ryan Nash. Then we reach the many retirements in this race. Bastian Peisler, Bruno Sousa Ferreira, Christoph Liechtenstein, Lucas Zimmerman, Mateusz Dabrowski, Raiko Lil, and Fabian Ruder, and then the DNFs of Jake Sanson, Tristan Potters, and Casper Unschwin. So, well, that's that. I believe that might have actually been the first double win of the season so far there from Casper. Maciej Winnick there. It was certainly an utterly brilliant performance all weekend. I've been so impressed with Maciej Winnick's driving this year in all the categories that he's been doing, in fact. And this, in fact, was just an absolute masterclass. Admittedly, he was helped by a bit of carnage, but no one wins anything without a slight bit of luck. So well done to Maciej Winnick for winning these two races. Now, I believe we have some people. Oh no, we don't have anyone waiting for interviews yet, but we're about to get the interviews underway. As soon as we do, we'll just have to wait for the drivers to kind of get cooled down and get everything sorted out, and then we can and then we can kick off with the opening interviews. So thrilling. You would have noticed, but towards the end of that race there, or even towards the middle of that race there, I was losing my voice. I mean, my goodness, it was utter mayhem the whole way through, especially race 2, although race 1 had its fair share of it as well. Great drive from Maciej Winnick, won it by about 6 seconds in the end. And entertainment for the whole Thursday. Still quite not ready for the interviews yet. Just bear with us, and we will be ready for those in no time at all. I've never got that saying, no time at all. Technically, it does take time, but thanks Godona in the chat. He types, what a race, lots of action, some great fights and great commentary. That's always very nice to hear. Thanks for that. Right, we have our first interviewee ready, so I'm going to bring in race winner from both races, Maciej Winnick. Hello, Maciej.
Hello.
Good. I must say that was dominant. That was utterly brilliant. I mean, talk us through it. What does it take to get a double win like that?
It's my first time, I think, when I scored double win, so yeah, it's pretty nice. In race 1, I thought I would have more easier race, but unfortunately I lost the momentum for a few laps and Roy catched me. So from maybe like lap 5 or 6, it was less than a second through until the end, and it was constant pressure, so it wasn't that easy. In race 2, I think everything just went brilliant for me. People were crashing in front of me. I was overtaking quite easy, and yeah, I don't have too much to say about it. I just went for the win, quite dominant, apart from Mateusz, who had also good pace.
Well, I'll tell you what. Roy Schroeter in race 1 certainly put you under quite a fair bit of pressure. I mean, there was less than half a second in it for about 10 laps at one point. I mean, surely it's just about keeping your head down at that point and not losing concentration from the car behind.
And also trying to break the slipstream. That's
of course. Indeed. So thanks for that. I'm now going to bring in Roy Schroeter. Roy, can you hear me?
Yes, I can. Can you hear me?
Good. Yeah, we can all hear you. I believe so. So, second place in race 1. You were very, very close to Maciej at some points. When you're attacking like that, I mean, what does it actually take to keep within to keep close to a car in front for that long. I've heard that these cars are quite difficult to follow in.
Yeah, they were indeed. My tires got so bad, and near the end, that's why I lost some pace to him in the closing laps. I think he put some more wings in, so that helped in the second sector. And together with the dirty air, I couldn't get closer than 6/10, which was too much to gain back on the straights, even with my a bit higher top speed. I couldn't catch him. But it was great fun keeping the pressure on him. It's been a while since we've battled like this during the race. Usually it's him starting near the back, or I have a bad qualifying, so we never really get that close on track. The times that I did, I made some mistake and I couldn't quite follow him. So it was fun today to be able to follow him and to pressure him. But of course, he's a worthy champion, so he didn't make any mistakes and just had to settle for second, which I'm very happy with too.
Okay, thanks, Roy. So also we saw in race 2, of course, you were picking your way through the carnage. Talk us through that race in particular.
That wasn't very fun.
I can imagine.
Very tough. A lot of wheel banging there. I guess I got third in the end, so I don't really care. If I hadn't, I would have been a lot more angry. It's just, yeah, this is Formula Challenge for you, I guess. It's a lot of young people trying to prove themselves and get on that podium the last few races of the season. So everybody wants to prove what they're worth. And yeah, I spun 2 times. My tires were so bad, but in the end, I guess it shows why Mathieu and I are on the top lead in the championship. We have the pace to battle for it, even if we have to overtake some cars. And it wasn't very easy today, though. The 2 spins, just it was a lot of action, and I'm happy with it. Let's just say that.
Also, you could technically have crowned yourself or secured second in the title this weekend. Do you know if you did that? Did you have your calculator out the whole time?
Yeah. Yeah, I've been looking at that all week now. I had 65 points ahead of David Junt, and I finished ahead of him in both races. So I'm sure that I got it now.
So you think you've done it? Okay, we'll confirm that. We'll confirm that later on. But anyway, indeed, thanks for that. I'm finally going to bring in Chris Butcher. Hi, Chris.
Hello.
Good. Yeah, I can hear you. Right. So again, you were right in the thick of the battles. Talk us through
it. Race 1 was pretty boring, to be fair. We went the wrong way on setup, so we didn't have enough straight line speed. So the leaders got away from me, and I was lucky that there was a pile up behind me, so that gave me a bit of breathing space. So it was just a case of bringing it home in third, getting as many points as I could. And race 2 was interesting, to say the least.
Yes.
Felt like the pace was really good, and I thought that even a win was possible, to be fair. But then got caught out in a couple of incidents. I think Philip Koenig, it was, collected me when he was rejoining the track, and then later on Roy moved too late on the straight and then turned into me a couple of corners afterwards, and that sort of ruined it from there. I mean, I must admit, I also ran into the back of Dabrowski, is it? I don't really know his name, but I need to say sorry for that. But yeah, I want to forget that one.
To be honest, that's probably a better pronunciation than I was doing. But anyway, carry on.
Yeah, so yeah, that's it really. It just sort of set the tone for the rest of the race. Getting caught up in silly incidents and then dropping it on my own. So one to forget for that one, but we'll come back stronger for the last round.
Indeed, and that final round will be in Abu Dhabi, of course. So we haven't got a championship for grabs. Mathieu has already sealed that one, but I'm sure that the racing will be no less intense. That will round up the interviews for today, and indeed the broadcast for today. So thank you all for watching this, all of the viewers, whether that's on the on the YouTube stream or elsewhere. I don't know where elsewhere this is broadcast, if anywhere. On your TV, your phone, you get the picture. Thanks for watching wherever you are, and we'll see you in the next one. Goodbye.